here. Welcome into Buffoon and Bodkins. My name is Tanner Dawson. We got a great show for you here. Unfortunately, no Nick Bodkins today. He's out, has an event going on there. And then Mr. Jim Behringer looks like he's actually at the Winnipeg, New York Rangers game on that 4-1 score in the third right now. So if he joins us, it'll be late, but it's no worry. I'm going to give you guys the latest hockey news. We'll talk about the stadium still. And then we'll break down some spring training baseball, MLB, AL, the AL, was it the West today? Yeah, the AL West. So excited to get into that here with Jonathan on the back end. Anyways, guys, let's get it rolling. All right, guys, let's get this thing going here.
Whammy!
Now we're working strong here. So there's a few things I want to go over today. We definitely are going to talk hockey here. I may not have the greatest up-to-date news here for everybody, but I got some news here that we're going to go over as we approach this March 4th trade deadline for the NHL. It's getting closer and closer. There was more moves today going on, so we'll get into that trade breakdown here a little later. But we'll start here with the hockey. I don't know if you guys saw the Stadium Series that finally went after, I think it's been 2 years since that's happened. The Carolina Hurricanes and Washington Capitals over there in Raleigh. They played at the Carter Fontes or Carter Finley? That's right, Carter Finley, North Carolina State Wolfpack Stadium. Looked tremendous. I'll even bring it up here for you guys to take a look. I mean, look how cool that is. I love the color. I'm about red. Obviously, as a Chiefs fan, a Jayhawk fan, I love the red here. I love the look of the ice hockey in the football stadium here. It is looking super cool. They did a really great job of presentation. This is the national anthem here. Very cool. I love the color. Again, this is one of my favorite jerseys I can see right here. When I saw this, I got to watch part of it, and then I had to come back and finish it. And I was impressed. I was impressed by a great game, of course, but the presentation of it too. You know, hockey stadium being NFL in an NFL stadium. You've seen it at times, right? I believe Pittsburgh's hosted it. I don't know if Lambeau ever has, but that'd be a really cool stadium. I believe New York has one time as well. But I mean, this was really cool. A really cool one that actually caught my eye and something that I love talking about here with you guys just because of the cool presentation. Here's another view of it. I mean, this place was packed in this area here, and that's the last view here I have of it here. Very cool of it. I mean, some things here I also looked up, I wanted to watch, like, how do they keep the ice cold? Well, apparently they use several different things to prevent the ice from melting. On top of that, there's several refrigerators beneath that they run, and they also use reflectors during the day since it's an outside stadium. So they roll reflectors all the way down, just like you put in your car window, right? All the way down, so the sun bounces off of it because it was still pretty warm. It was actually chilly that night for Raleigh, but I mean, it was pretty impressive the way they actually were able to keep that ice cold there in that. So, but I mean, you got to think about it too, right? Performing in a stadium is a lot different than performing in an arena. This is an open air stadium in this play. So you're thinking about the noise. You're thinking about the lights are different. The presentation, of course, is going to be different. The amount of fans is actually, I think, more than they would have in an arena normally. And it's just an open air atmosphere. So you also got technically Mother Nature involved, right? And I mean, it was really cool looking. Like I showed the pictures there, very impressed with it. I mean, honestly, I was able to watch a lot of it here going to play. It was a very aggressive game during the first 5 minutes. Really, Carolina scored within the first 2 minutes. Then there's a bunch of goal line skirmishes going on in the play during that 5 minute span. The first 5 minute span, it was amazing. It was very impressive. And then is it not Natchez? He tried to go between his legs, skated backwards, trying to score a goal between his legs. I thought that was pretty cool. I haven't seen a lot of that. So I'm new to hockey, so it's new for me, but I thought that was kind of cool trying to skate backwards to get a goal, ended up missing out. Carolina scores in the second off a rebound, assisted by Natchez there. Cap scored in the third finally. It was kind of a weird stat line. Caps had 22 block shots, but the Hurricanes outshot them by 10, 35-25. And it was, I don't know, it's just an overall very impressive game. 4-1 victory for the Hurricanes in that play. And I mean, what else can you say? I mean, you look for good entertainment, good presentation in these kind of special series. And, I'll go back through it here. Again, this is one of the coolest stadiums series that I've seen. At least that's caught my eye enough to tune in and watch here for a minute. So again, very impressive there. It looks like the Winnipeg Jets won 4-1 the New York Rangers. So we'll see if Jim gets on here a little later. Let's dig into some hockey. Where we're at with the trade deadline here. Obviously, we're over about a week and a half left here at this moment here. So the first is next Wednesday. So you're looking at the 4th being a Saturday. So I mean, that's a week from this upcoming Saturday. So there's a lot still to go on. Looking at it too, looks like Tyler Mott from the Senators did get to the Rangers here. Pretty big move there. Since the Rangers already traded Vladimir Tarasenko. But I mean, the fact that they required Tyler Mott here to be able to get into that, and they also Ottawa received forward, Julian Gauthier and a conditional 7th round pick in 2023. So it's moves are already starting to be made here. Obviously, people are trying to catch up to Boston, being the big one here, and they're looking to make a move too for a defenseman. If I can find it again, because I probably can't. Who are you going after? Boston. I just got done reading it about 30 minutes ago. There it is. Of course, Vladislav Gavrikov, the Columbia Blue Jackets defenseman. They're trying to get that. Obviously, it'll demand some higher draft picks in that play, but that's going to be kind of a sight to watch here. If Boston's able to essentially continue to load up and play the ball they do and be able to play defense even more, that Bruins team could be very dangerous here come playoff time in this play. But I mean, obviously there's more teams looking to make splashes. Oilers, the Kings, multiple stuff going on there. And then Chicago announced that they are still looking at Kane, even though they announced that they would not trade him. They are looking to move Patrick Kane still. So that's still one. I think you're going to see that probably the last couple of days of the trade deadline coming into play. They will not trade Jonathan Toews, however you want to say his name. And there was a trade today as well. The Maple Leafs acquired forward Ryan O'Reilly and Noel Akari from the St. Louis Blues in a 3-team trade, including the Wild on Friday. Exchange the Blues received Adam Gaudette, prospect Mikhail Abramov, a 1st-round pick, a 2nd-round pick, and a 3rd-round pick. And the Wild received a 4th-round pick from Toronto and the prospect Josh Pilar from St. Louis. So, and it looks like St. Louis will retain 50% of O'Reilly's $7.5 million cap hit in the deal, while Minnesota just stays with the 25% in that play. For a 31-year-old there forward, I still think this is a pretty good move for them. Being able to really try to get back up and make a push here closer to playoff time. I believe they just traded one other guy. I cannot remember to save my life. Hey, look at there he is. There he is. Illy Jet, man, what's up? It's been a long time since I've talked with you. I know you're out there killing it still, but it'll be coming soon here. March is upon us, aka NFL draft talk, and I know I'll be getting Illy Jet on because he'll have great words of wisdom for those Jets, and I'm sure he has other ideas for certain teams. So He's always a good one to check out. Make sure you guys go check him out there as well and subscribe. But yeah, I mean, obviously a lot here to come here for hockey as we get closer. I'm sure Jim will have a lot more words next Monday in it coming into play for, all right, sorry, deadline on March 3rd, not 4th. My date's wrong. So next Friday, a week from Friday in this play. So, it's going to be very interesting to see who can actually pull away here. So if you do look at the standings, obviously Boston out there with only 8 losses, just killing the league. You got the Vegas out there with first in theirs or I guess tied with Dallas in points there. But Dallas and Vegas are looking good, but Dallas has dropped 4 in a row, which has been a big struggle for them. Just kind of a random losing streak for them that's really put them in second place here. Vegas really needed to keep their 5-game winning streak. That's a team that needed a winning streak. If you remember, last time I believe we talked hockey was before the Super Bowl, and they were down closer to the third or fourth in that little conference there in Western. And since then they've 5-game win streak and really pushing back to first place there. Carolina, New Jersey, all right there in the East still. Look, I don't think anybody's catching Boston, honestly, when you have 91 points and 8 losses already going into the trade deadline. Literally, if they get out and get that defensive guy they need, I think they're solid. I think they're set. And they're going to be a hard one to get beat in the playoffs there. Obviously, there's teams that can do it. We saw the way Carolina played. They're very aggressive on the Saturday series. New Jersey's been hitting in there as well. Toronto just beefed up a little bit after getting rid of a couple people. And the Rangers as well. So, I mean, teams are making a push. And it's going to be easy for Boston. I still think Boston's the favorite. I think they become even more the favorite if they get that defenseman. Let me know what you guys think, though. Put it in the comments below. If you can, make sure you guys click that subscribe and that bell while you're at it as we continue to chat here. So obviously the back half here, we're going to talk MLB when we're talking with Jonathan Grishman in the play. Excited to finally get some MLB stuff going on. It's been a long time going for it, right? It's a long season, but it's good to really get it going. We're going to break down the AL West here in the back half as soon as Jonathan gets on to play. Right now, guys, I'm watching on my side here. I got my little phone. We are watching KU and TCU. It's a great matchup. Great looking court, by the way, with TCU. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it's very unique for it. It's over there on ESPN right now. So watching that here as my Jayhawks are looking to make a push towards that 1 seed in the tournament. I do want to win the Big 12, right? League. I could care less about the Big 12 tournament. Really, but give me the league here. I think if we can win out here, we can get that as a Jayhawk fan. But teams like TCU, Texas is still in it right there. We still got a pretty good tough schedule to come into play for that season here. Some teams, I don't know if you guys saw North Carolina, they might be out of it. It's gonna be real hard for them to end up making the tournament now. Just the way they've lost those last 5 games now, disaster. From being number 1 AP poll to I think being the worst. I think the worst start since for a number 1 preseason AP poll. So, in case you guys missed it too, Houston climbed up back into 1 after the win against Memphis. Alabama went down because they lost to Tennessee after a big victory against Georgia in that play. KU's at 3, UCLA 4, Purdue's 5. Purdue, a very inconsistent team, finally blew out a team. I'm so sorry, they're just playing highlight here. Finally blew out a team here in Ohio State that's needed, but they got a really tough test with Indy coming Saturday. So they'll definitely have a good layaway period here, be able to get some rest, get some much needed treatment for that team. But they got a tough game coming this Saturday against Indiana on that play. Virginia, Arizona, Texas, Baylor, Marquette round up the top 10. Baylor with that tough loss against the KU last week. They got K-State coming up here on tomorrow. Excited for that one here. Texas out here with Iowa State tomorrow. That's going to be a really good game. We saw it really close last time. I really think you're going to see another great game in this one here. Honestly, Big 12 out here repping. I believe they have, let's see, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams in the top 25. So I like that chances there. Pac-12 over here having definitely a couple teams in the, I guess considered still Pac-12, right? With all the changes coming, but UCLA is in there. Arizona with a great win against Colorado. Colorado team that's actually been playing pretty solid. So that was a very solid win for Arizona in that one last week here. Much needed there. And I guess Virginia kind of sneaking in there in the top 7, being number 6 right now. That's a team that could finish top 5 before we know it. ACC is not very strong this year. Duke struggle. Syracuse very inconsistent. Jim Boeheim, it's trying to make that last push just to get in the tournament, but it's Clemson. They're very, very consistent. They're not really much there. So Virginia could easily come out with this victory here and sneak in possibly a low 1 seed, high 2 seed in this as well. 31-29 currently with a minute 18 left. Jayhawks on top. A team too. We're talking about a team on fire. Miami's been on fire lately. I don't know what it is up with them this year, but man, they're high. They're fast paced, and they can go. They go quick in their games, and they're able to make wins happen and stay close in games. They had a big win against Wake Forest, who isn't no slouch either. I love seeing teams like Gonzaga and St. Mary's in here as well in the top 15 here. It's great to see those kinds of teams playing against each other that close as well. Obviously Gonzaga and St. Mary's always go back and forth, so it's great to see that back into play. Creighton's been one of those teams this year, guys. I must say I've been very impressed with Creighton, especially at home. They had a big one on the road against St. John on, I believe it was Sunday for that one. Big win there to stay alive. They should have beat Providence on the road, but they did not, and that kind of cost him part of that Big East there, be able to take over. Providence is right there. UConn, Creighton, Providence are all right there, 18, 19, 20 on that side here. Marquette, though, I think has this wrapped up. Shaka with that big win against Xavier, which is really their, I guess outside of UConn, their biggest test for that title there. And I think they can take the conference there. They're definitely, I think in the end, they'll be a 2 seed in that one. Marquette, if they can win out. If they lose a couple more, they'll definitely kick them out. They got Creighton. They go to Creighton tomorrow. Tomorrow for Creighton, at Creighton. We all know that place is tough to play. Very tough to play. I believe you're going to see a fabulous game there. That is a 7:30 p.m. Central start on that one here. Another team to watch for, Tennessee. Talk about inconsistent lately, losing to Kentucky there after beating Bama, and then they lost to, I can't remember. There was another team there too, and it's kicked them out to number 11. I thought that team would be a for sure 1 seed going into play, but it unfortunately is not. Texas A&M coming on tomorrow. Look, Texas A&M could take this away. They already did it once. There's no reason why they can't come out and take care of business here again for this Tennessee team here. But it's going to be, I mean, there's literally from here on out, it's watching all these matchups happen. This is what's going to determine your seats, not necessarily your ranking or where you're at. It's going to be where your seating is, right? That's where they're going to take into strength of schedule. How do you play? You can't lose by big digits. You have to stay close. It looks like we are at halftime, 33-29. Jayhawks at half. Look, great start into play, versus the TCU team that last played KU. It was a shootout for TCU. They hit their career highs in threes and shooting percentage and all that stuff. So this time around, it's looking a little different here at TCU. So hopefully come away with that victory there. Kind of round out here, teams that obviously will make the tournament: Northwestern, San Diego State, Iowa State, Texas A&M, and TCU. We just talked about Texas A&M. looking to build that resume up even more. A great win against Tennessee will build that up, possibly get them to a 5 or 4 seed if they can win out there. TCU is definitely needing a win here, but I don't know. I don't necessarily know if they can get that today. We'll have to see. Iowa State, who's kind of toppled as well. San Diego State, tough game against Fresno. That's a team that doesn't play very many tough teams, though. That's why they're sitting at 22. They did go down one. Check the schedules, everything, guys. It's something that you got to remember here. See if I'm logged in here. Ken Pond. Right, not. Trying to find some pace here too for San Diego State, because I thought they were the fastest playing teams. All right, let's see here. So strength of schedule here. So KU has the strongest strength of schedule of rating right now in the league here. Obviously, Oklahoma's second in the Big 12. Michigan State, Baylor. Of course, Michigan State's up there. Tom Izzo schedules everything tough in the beginning of the season. So that it doesn't matter what happens in the Big 10 and how that looks. It doesn't matter, because that's always going to be a strong conference when you're playing back to back there. So they always make this. He always puts the toughest games up first as well. So that team is always in the top 3 of strength of schedule in this here. Baylor, West Virginia, Oklahoma State. Look, Nebraska could sneak into this tournament. Obviously, they need a little bit more help going into play at 14-14, but they have what would that be, the 7th or 8th strongest strength of schedule right now. That's ahead of Iowa State, Alabama, Oregon. I mean, there's a lot of teams in here that could still make it. I think Ohio State's looking on their way out, honestly, the last few games. Seton Hall, I like coming into play. They could be a sneaky team if they get stuff right. I still think Creighton's one of my favorite. That could upset some people in the tournament here. K-State obviously can make a splash. Xavier there. Butler with a very disappointing loss to Georgetown on Saturday. Should not have lost that game. They were ahead. They stayed ahead, and then the Blues in the air towards the end. So that's a very disappointing loss for that Butler team that's trying to get stuff turned around. And I think one team too, Villanova. Villanova just continues to struggle on that platform. 13-14 this year. Just not a pretty sight there. They're on the outside looking in right now. I really do believe that. They're on the outside looking in for this team. And it's unfortunate that it is, but I think a couple big wins here will definitely get that team back in. And then, of course, Auburn out here making splashes, continuing on there. Arkansas right there with them. Nevada's going to be a sneaky team again. We've seen that team in years past always be really good when it comes to tournament time. I think that's a team that's really going to be a struggle for a lot of teams there. I don't like Connecticut as much. They've kind of turned stuff around a little bit, but man, playing from behind is really tough for them. And it's a team that I'm not very concerned with, honestly, at this point. Let's see here. Who else we got here? UCLA, Arizona. I'm not big on Pac-12 teams. Never am. Obviously, Arizona's played, year in, year out, really tough there. I think Arizona, if you had to pick one of those Pac-12 teams, I'd go Arizona. But again, all it takes is one high-scoring big team there, like an SEC-style team, and Arizona's out. Arizona doesn't stand a chance there. Rutgers has really dropped lately. I really thought they would be better in the play. I think Missouri is still fake on a lot of their stuff. They're really one element solid on there, and that's kind of the inside game. Make them shoot, they're done for. LSU is definitely not making it. Colorado State won't make it. Kind of disappointing, Colorado State. I really thought they had a chance here to sneak through and make that into play. St. John's is a team I think they get in the tournament, and I think they're a force here. I really think that the St. John's team can, when they're on fire from the range, they can beat any team. And I think they will too. I think they're going to advance possibly the first 2 rounds at least into play if they get it. You got Duke out there. I think they should make it just fine. Struggle team, but they they're not gonna they're definitely not gonna go far. They could upset some guys, but they're not gonna go very far at all. Let's see here, going down the way here. Memphis, not really impressed there. Boise State. Boise State could do some damage there. Let's see here where they're at. 28th. We got Boise. So I thought they were one of the highest adjustments here. Yeah, they're 83rd best in the offense here, 9th best in the defense. That's where it's going to come into play. Is they're going to be able to play defense and possibly stop some momentum runs for a lot of these teams in the tournament. I think that's where Boise State becomes dangerous. Is obviously they can, score, keep up with other guys, but I think they can make some key stops when it comes time versus a lot of teams. I think Boise State is going to be a very, very tough team to stop. It's obviously, guys, we have a long way still to go here. We are, well, not really, because we'll see here. What is it? The March. There it is. March 12th is Selection Sunday. That's a little over 3 weeks away. We are almost here, guys. We are almost here for Selection Sunday. It's going to be insane. I believe the conference tourneys start the 4th. Yes, the 4th there. So that is a week from Saturday. Not a lot of time left for teams. Nope, not at all. They're going to have to figure life out here. Of course, Duke winning against Louisville, as they should. Very impressed, though. Very impressed that we're getting so close here. And I think it's starting to come down and start looking right here. Obviously, I think your 1 seeds could easily be Houston for sure. I think Houston takes the overall number 1 again. I think Bama's going to be right there. KU should be in it. And then I think either Virginia or Arizona sneak up and take that final 1 seed into play. Your 2 seeds here, it's definitely be UCLA, Purdue should get that. And then whoever doesn't get between Virginia and Arizona gets it. And then probably Marquette. I'm going to go Marquette over Baylor and Texas to get a 2 seed. And then I'll do Baylor, Texas on the 3s, Tennessee with the 3, and the Zags actually I'm going to go Miami with the 3 on the final 3. So that's my prediction for the top 3 seeds there in college basketball here. We're sure we'll be about 5 minutes away, guys. 10 minutes away before Jonathan Grishman gets on, and we'll start talking some baseball in this mess here. Let's see here. Gino's trending here. I was trying to look at it earlier. Oh, I ain't worried about Gino. Yeah, we got franchise tags coming up too, guys. This is insane. Like, I know we just got done with the NFL season, but NFL franchise tags are right around the corner. There's lots of teams looking, possibly to tag a couple of guys second times. Orlando Brown Jr. might be one for the Kansas City Chiefs. Going to be a little pricey there, but I mean, can't be too mad about it. But all the coaches are settled for at least head coaches are settled now. Both the coordinators for the Philly team ended up taking those. Very good picks, I think. So I'm not disappointed. I was very shocked by Arizona, though. I really thought they'd go more offensive-minded kind of coach with Kyler Murray there. But if they move D-Hop there, it may not matter. I mean, obviously, Hollywood Brown would become your 1. AJ Green's gone. Rondale Moore has to stay healthy in that play. There's obviously some more stuff that could happen there. But it's gonna be kind of interesting to see how the Arizona team ends up feeling. But yeah, we got franchise tags going on. We'll have scouting combine on Wednesday and Thursday as well. We'll definitely be breaking down Thursday a lot more of the scouting combine, kind of positions and breakdowns, and maybe single out some teams that are maybe might be looking at certain guys into play. for this year. So it's, I mean, it's just kind of how it is, right? Like this time of year. A lot going on. Yeah, NHL trade deadline that we kind of talked about already. I have not seen anything else go into play here. Let's see here. Looks like the Flames might be considering to trade Mackenzie Weegar. Uh, best defenseman. Yeah, I don't know why they would trade him, but unless they think they can get a haul for him, and they're not looking to make a push here in the playoffs, that might be the only way. Not want to, get either out of that contract or not pay the guy. So, but there's a lot going down right now in the world of sports. I will admit here, for this. So it's a lot there. Let's see here. Timo Meyer, I'm still waiting to hear on. Kind of my top three guys I'm looking for: Timo Meyer, Jacob Chikron. See, I said it wrong the first time, and I even listened to it like 900 times. Still can't get it right. All these names are weird for me. And then Patrick Kane in this as well. I think Patrick Kane goes somewhere, goes to a contender. I think Chicago ends up letting him go, if not for just a haul. But I think they get a pretty good deal out of it too. So I think Kane finally gets out. He doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to be there, right? It's just how it is right now. Patrick Kane does not want to be in Chicago. But who does right now? Let's be real. That Blackhawks team is no fun in this here. Man. I ain't gonna talk about NBA right now. I will say the Jazz do wrong stuff here. That Karl Malone situation there is coming out in the light, and it's just not a good thing. It's not a good thing overall. Doesn't want to talk about it. It's kind of it's happened. He's moved on. So unfortunately, fortunately, he doesn't come into the limelight too much, and he kind of stays away. So that's the first time he's really been out. So I mean, it's definitely an odd deal, not very cringy in that play, especially a guy that I looked up to in Utah. When I lived for a year there, I was a Jazz. Obviously, we don't have an NBA team here in KC, so I became a Jazz guy. Ostertag was out there. I had a couple of KU guys. Scott Pollard's out there. Brian Russell, that was their push in, was that 98 when they played Michael. So I was really young, of course, but it was a fun time, fun atmosphere to be in that kind of NBA playoff state. And then this came out. At least I haven't heard about it till now, and it's pretty upsetting. Pretty upsetting in that play on that. And I wonder how stuff's going to go here with the NBA though. Second forward, because obviously Westbrook got announced to the Clippers, which I'm kind of shocked he wants to stay in that West. That West is loaded. Now it's even more loaded. And I think the Clippers have a really great shot to get a 3 or 4 seed now. I think this Clippers team has a chance to make a splash because they were already there, kind of, that 5 seed currently, I believe it was. Let's see here if this would work correctly. There we go. So yeah, you have the Clippers sitting in the 1, 2. So they're in the 4. So this team only 3 out from the 3. Sacramento's gonna have a strong push here the second half after this All-Star break here. I really think that Clippers probably surpass them, and depending on the health of Denver and Memphis, towards the late season, the Clippers could be up there in that 2 spot. They could finally have another push for a playoff team here. I'm waiting to see on Phoenix here. Obviously, on my side, it's not a team I'm overly concerned about either. Honestly, I want to see what Kevin Durant looks like playing with a guy like Booker and Ayton. Not too worried about Chris Paul because he'll probably be out here in a month. So just the way that story goes, right? I honestly still think Minnesota makes a great push. I mean, Mike Conley's there is a huge key for this Minnesota team that they needed so much. That was a team that needed to be around, essentially. And I think it's pretty massive to have a guy Mike Conley there and getting rid of D'Lo. And D'Lo going to the Lakers is probably the best situation for him too in that plan. So I really think Minnesota makes a splash. Honestly, looking at the teams here, I'm looking at Sacramento probably being out and in the playing game. But again, how hard can they, how can they stay on fire the rest of the NBA season to go about that? That's the thing, right? That's the thing with Sacramento is can they continue their role? They're 32-25. Nobody expected them to be there. At least I didn't. I would give them maybe a bottom of the playing games, but not third in the West. This is a team that's performed really well. And I still think strongly that this team, I will sneeze. There we go.
Whammy!
Man, yeah, I love it when I sneeze. It's loud. All my sneezes are loud. I don't know why. Anyways, Sacramento guys, I think this guys keep playing their ball, keep playing strong. I think they can make a splash this year. I really like them. I know JG doesn't really like them on our Saturday show in the Hoop. If you guys don't catch it every Saturday morning, 9:45 a.m. Central. But we talked about that a little bit, and he doesn't believe in the Kings, and I think the Kings have a lot to prove. I think this is a team not just underdogs, but you want to talk about certain teams like the Chiefs having to prove people wrong. Well, this is a Kings team ready to prove people wrong, and I think that's it. I think them and Memphis will be the solid two, honestly. Denver out there doing stuff. So NBA is kind of odd now. Thursdays the game picks back up. Boston and Milwaukee obviously leading the charge in record wise, as so right. They're the two most solid teams with the less turnover. If anything, they bulked back up in this play. It's just a matter of staying healthy. Philadelphia is still hanging around in Cleveland too, but it's going to come down to health. Embiid's still battling a foot issue. Donovan Mitchell's already missed time already this year, late, right before the All-Star break. Actually, he missed a couple weeks, so there's a lot to go on there. Brooklyn obviously is probably going to be out of this thing since they traded Kyrie and Durant. New York Knicks could easily sneak into that spot right there. They could even possibly surpass Cleveland at times if it goes well. The Kevin Hart, did I say just Kevin Hart? Oh my Lord, Josh Hart, guys, not Kevin Hart, Josh Hart. Josh Hart acquisition there for New York could be really huge for Brunson and him having a kind of a key chemistry set for that. So I'm super excited for that one to see what happens there. Miami, honestly, I think Miami and Atlanta could easily sneak into that final playoff spot, kick Brooklyn down to the playing games. I think Chicago and Indy should still be in that playing game by the end of the season too. I know they're not playing the best right now, but that's a team that has a lot. Both of those teams have a lot of power, and they've shown it at times. Indy's really good at home, but they can't play very well against on the road for whatever reason. So, it's a lot to come there for the NBA time. But we'll have to see what happens here on that because it's just too much inconsistency. Anthony Edwards had it right though. Why aren't these? Excuse me, guys. Why aren't these teams like you got to play players, right? You can't bench them every other game. I understand weight load management, but like if you're gonna do it in the first half. The second half should all be momentum coming into play. Teams like Steph Curry, Golden State having all those star players, people want to go see them. And it's just unfortunate that yes, they play at such a faster rate, I believe, and these guys are more athletic than ever. But you have to be able to get out there and play. Edwards said it best too. People out there spend their money. One game's expensive as hell, and that could be somebody's vacation essentially for that one game. So I'm with it. I'm with Edwards there. You should be playing those road games. Yeah, you can sit out, but I'm not saying, but you sit out, they sit out all the time. You got to be able to play. I think you should honestly, if you're healthy, and that's where those weird back injuries come into play, right? Or the knee injuries come into play, is to designate the weight load management. Essentially, it's not rest as much to work around it. So it's going to be a battle you're never going to win. Honestly, very unfortunate that we won't win that, but it's going to be a battle you won't ever win in that. So I get it. I fully support Edwards in this because I really do believe this guy should be playing, but they're not going to support it. It's just not going to happen. As much as we want it to happen, it won't happen. They'll have workarounds. Now, what if they did this though, right? So that if you put an injury designation, it forces them to miss 2 games instead of 1. Teams might reconsider because that second game could be a bigger game they want, or they can, be manipulative and move around the way they want. But maybe if you're on an injury designation, you have to miss certain amount of games. Obviously, I don't know how well that'll go by the NBA, the CBA or whatever. But I think that would be a big solution. If you get an injury designation, you have to miss 2 to 3 games. That could change a lot of people's minds on using those fake injury designation on sore backs that aren't like there's might be sore, but they're not injury designation sore. Oh, Otani's agent hints free agency he will seek. Ooh. Guess where he won't sign? The Kansas City Royals. Because why would we sign anybody like that? That's what I want to know. That's who I want. All right, we got 16 left here, 40-34 currently. My Jayhawks coming into play. Yep, 40-37, just like that. So, yeah, guys, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot going on right now. NHL baseball has picked up. NFL still going on because of all the all-season drama into play. NBA and NCAA, because NCAA, right? We got Selection Sunday on the 12th. Tournament starts the 14th. It's not over till the 4th of April. And then we're going to be talking about NBA early withdrawals right before the draft. There's so much to do. There's so much to talk about here. You got the MLB Mexico series in April. We got World Baseball Classic coming into play here. We're going to be talking about here next week, probably. Oh, no, not next week. The week. So the 8th is, I think the 8th on Monday, isn't it? No, okay. We'll be talking about the World Baseball Classic on the 6th of March. So 2 weeks from now, in that play. I'm super excited for that. I just realized that was literally right around the corner. Oh, how about this story, guys? Oh, we still wait for Jonathan here. Daniel Jones is looking to ask for and Daniel Jones wants to ask for. Hang on here. This is a new report. Oh, that's a dumb report. So Daniel Jones for the New York Giants is looking to possibly get $45 million per year or more. He already fired his agent, got with a new agent. So he went from CAA to Athletes First. And he's going to be pushing for a big contract and possibly for 3 or 4 years of 45 plus million per year. I don't believe in that. I don't like that at all. This should be immediately okay, good luck, dude. Or can they franchise tag him? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. If they can, I would just franchise tag him, but I'm not going to pay the guy 45 mil. You played well, right? You played well with Double, but you didn't play elite level. You didn't play 45 mil level. I give you 30 for 3 years. I ain't giving you 45 for 3 years, for 4 years, right? It's not I don't think the right amount there. It definitely should be less, right? I'll give you 45 for actually I wouldn't even give you 45 for one. So who does the Giants look for? I think they can swap some quarterbacks. I think they go out and get some guys. I still feel like the favorite. I still think like the right move for this team here because it is such a odd team with their wide receiver situations. Isaiah Hodgins performed really well, but I think you do a swap with Baltimore. Go get Lamar. Why not? Go all in. You got Brian Dabble going into play. Your defense looks really good. Your line was better this year. Uh, you could say, if you don't say Daniel, pay Lamar, tag Saquon, right? Get that combo going, and go get yourself another receiver. Go out and get Hopkins or something. I don't know. It's I think you have to at this point go get Lamar. Just plain and simple. I think you got to go get Lamar. If not, if not, I mean, what do you do? Go out and get Mac Jones from the Patriots? Tannehill? I Matt Ryan? I mean, those are awful choices there. Maybe you wait to see what Jimmy G does. Bring Jimmy G in. You don't go get Derek Carr. I don't know if the Jets are aware of this, but under 40, his record isn't too hot under 40 degrees. So Derek Carr is a dome type of quarterback. Maybe go down and get Jameis. Go get Jameis. I'd be okay with Jameis Winston. I would not pay Daniel Jones 45 mil to quarterback my team. Thank you for the great years, but it's time to move on. That's exactly how I would say to him. I appreciate you and what you do, but it's time to move on. This is not what it's about at all. I mean, you could do because here's Robert Griffin right here. The difference between Daniel Jones getting 45 mil a year or 30 mil a year could be keeping Saquon Barkley. That's exactly what it is. I think Saquon is on your list higher than Daniel Jones. As much as weird as it is, yes, I know Saquon's a running back, health issues, but he's still a dynamic player. He's like a Christian McCaffrey level where you keep these kind of guys. Saquon should be higher on your list than Daniel Jones. Exactly what it is. I would, yeah, I'd say it's far away from that 45 mil per year in the play. It's no, not in for it. I'm not in for it. Not at all. Why would you do that? Maybe what about this too? I don't know where they're at with Cousins there in Minnesota. Why not go? Probably not try to go after him. They're looking to free up some salary cap. Cousins will free up salary cap. Go after him, give him some picks, and then go out and sign like a Jimmy G, basically a Kirk Cousins 2.0, right? Give me a Jimmy G. Give me possibly a Matt Ryan when he gets cut. A Winston up there. Like I think they're going to look for another quarterback eventually here in Minnesota. Why not get some draft picks from New York while you're at it? Kirk Cousins trade. I mean, that guy has been paid for years for mediocrity, right? This is an elite guy. We call it prime Kirk Cousins for a reason. Botkins is all over that. Prime Kirk Cousins for a reason. I almost spilled my drink there. I don't know what else to say for the Giants here. I just say no to the Daniel Jones deal. Thank you, but no. And move on. Go out and get somebody. Just not Derek Carr. He's not going to help your team that much. And speaking of Lamar too, like this whole situation, I think it's kind of unfortunate for Lamar in a way. Like everybody's blaming this injury for why he didn't play. He was playing, right? He would have played if he could play. You don't just not play the playoffs and prove your worth in the playoffs. You prove your worth in the regular season, and then you come back in the playoffs and prove why they need you. Not when you're sitting on the bench, not because you're hurt, right? So if he could have played, I believe he would have played. I don't believe in any of this BS about him not playing because he was hurt. Okay, it's just I don't believe it. Do I think Baltimore is the right fit for him? I don't think so. I really, really, really don't think so. I could honestly, this would be the total Raider thing for them to do is go out and get Lamar. Go trade a bunch of draft picks. It's such a Mark Davis thing to do is go out and try to go get a guy like Lamar. It's just a situation set up for it. I know we were talking about Aaron Rodgers going there and stuff like that. I could totally see a setup where the Raiders decided to take a chance. And then inside the AFC West, then you're going to have Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Justin Herbert. I know we talked big about the AFC West last year, but that would be a pretty unstoppable QB force right there to play against. But again, it comes down to the health, and that's why I'm thinking such a Raider move. I would love to see Washington go after him with their defense now healthy. Chase is healthy. I think that defense could be a force there in Washington. I'd love to see that with Bieniemy on the OC side. I think my other spot for them would be the Giants or Las Vegas. Just makes sense to me. Finally get him a weapon with Devontae Adams. Hunter Renfro's still there. John Wall's still there. You know, you don't need to go out and sign you Josh Jacobs back. You don't need to go sign you a big running back name back. You got Lamar Jackson. I mean, he kind of fits two of those positions in one, especially when he's healthy, which he will be at the beginning of the season, which I have no doubt on. But I think he looks like competitive side things as well. Is now you're going against teams like the Chargers, the Chiefs. You still got to compete against teams like the Bengals for seeding. You still got to compete against teams like the Steelers, who I think will be a lot better this year. New England could easily improve it with their offensive coordinator that just resigned. Can't save my life or just think of his name right now. Oh, Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien. Dolphins should be good this year. All right. They have Vic Fangio, I believe, so they should be good this year. I think the AFC is there's just so much going on. That's why I think the Giants or the Commanders would be the best fit because he could dominate the NFC side. I really do believe that. You have to go against guys like possibly Aaron Rodgers, possibly Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford if he's healthy. Ain't worried about San Francisco. Between Brock Purdy, he'll probably be out for the whole year. So you got Trey Lance. Good luck with that. Gino, maybe I don't know. Gino comes out and plays like he did before. He could be a guy. Try to think of the other quarterbacks here. No, nope. Jared Goff of the Lions. That's a team I really do feel like they got better this year. They're going to be even better the next year. I'm excited to see what kind of draft they have. I think that's really going to determine what happens here. It's what kind of draft they have, and I love the chances they took last year too. So, Jared Goff, I'll give you Jared Goff as a comment. I mean, still, Lamar's better than all those guys outside of Stafford when healthy. Lamar's better than all those guys. He would dominate with the Commanders or Giants. I really do feel that with the defense behind him, just like he did in Baltimore back in, what was that, 18 when he was a 1 seed? Like, I don't know what else to tell you. You know, it'll be such a, I don't know, such a dynamic deal for that team. And he'd have went to Commanders, you have Scary Terry, right? You'd have 3 capable receivers when healthy. You'd have a running game. Brian Robinson. The O line's not bad, and you have a offensive coordinator that just coached Mahomes for was that 4 years, 3 years. Set up. You're set up, man. I don't understand the issue. Oh, Jonathan's trying to get in here. Let's try to get in here. I don't know. I think Lamar destinations. I think the NFC is the best side for him. All right, let's see here. There he is. All right, guys. It's time to kick off the MLB time. MLB spring training has begun. I believe everybody is down there now. I believe. Been kind of occupied lately, but believe everything's down there. We are breaking down a division today. AL West breakdown today. No Botkins. I know we can't even talk trash on Botkins anything today, but we'll get them later. We'll get them next week. So let's bring them in. Jonathan Gershman. Jonathan, what's up, dude?
How's it going?
Good, man. Good. Just sitting here talking football, talking hockey, talking NCAA. Now ready to talk some MLB, man.
No, absolutely. Favorite time of the year. The weather's getting warm. Sun's out. Baseball's is hitting wood bats. It's my favorite time of the year.
It's my favorite part of it, dude. So, obviously, spring training has happened, or is happening now. We're finally there. Everybody is out there. We're sounds like everything's going all right. I haven't heard of any big injuries yet. No out of shape guys coming into play. That's the good stuff I want to hear. These all guys, all of them look prepared, ready to go. Haven't heard anything bad from our brother yet, so that's a good thing too. A lot down there. But I mean, I guess as a young player, as you're going into spring training, is there a lot of nerves? I mean, were you were in spring training, right?
I played in the minor leagues. I bounced around. We had our own spring trainings. We did. I was able to go to Arizona for spring training at one point. So yeah, I got a small, not the same as the big leagues. I didn't get that experience of what that was like, but for 4 years in the minors, being able to kind of get that own experience of spring training, yes.
Do you get to talk, like, I know you guys are within your own clubs and everything like that, but do you ever get to talk outside of your organization in the spring training, knowing that there's so many other clubs around?
Not necessarily. I mean, outside once your day's done and everything like that, yeah, you can run into some of the guys and everything, kind of to see those who are, especially if you share, like in Arizona, they share spring training complexes. I think it was Diamondbacks and Rockies, they share theirs. Mariners, and I think it's Padres in Arizona, they share theirs. Yep. So you're more around those guys that you share complex with outside of once the team breaks for the day and everything. You'll get a chance to see some of those guys. It's not very often you'll do, but you run into a few guys here and there that are around the area just because of the complex that you're sharing with.
Awesome. Yeah, I remember, like, when I was down there last year, my brother, we met up with some Padres guys and Mariners guys and stuff like that. So, very smart guys, very smart in their field that they do. It's insane listening to these guys and their stories. I always thought I understood sports. I did understand sports.
Right. No, it's a blast, and I mean that's one of the things that I miss more is the camaraderie, being around your teammates, and being able to just, like I said, talk. We all have our own experiences and how we got there. That's one thing. I remember my rookie year. We talked about, hey, what we did in college and how we got where we're here. For the guys that we just met for the first time, guys that you played with in the past, and other stops, you kind of see them and kind of just check up and catch up on what's been going on. It's so much fun. Like I said, the story telling that you're sharing with guys, and kind of how your own background and learning about the backgrounds of guys that you haven't played with before. It's really it's second to none of what you could be on a team, and even in just the community, in the baseball community, that you just run into some guys that have the same experiences or similar experiences, and you get to share those with them as well, and kind of just connect, and you end up making lifelong friends from that point on.
Yeah, no, it. I know it's generally the first couple of weeks are pretty much the best time.
Yeah,
I know you can get a little homesick probably that last week and a half, but it's that part of the game. So, all right, we ready for our first breakdown?
absolutely.
Get this paper ready.
Good shit, Derek.
All right, so we're gonna do the AL West.
Mm-hmm.
Consists of the Houston Astros, Seattle Mariners, the Texas Rangers, your Oakland Athletics, soon to be Las Vegas, and Los Angeles Angels.
Man, you know what? You're not far off. That's gonna happen. They're already looking at land out there in Vegas. So I mean, Vegas is the sports hub of America right now with the Raiders out there. You have the Golden Knights. You've got the Las Vegas Aces. I mean, why not? I'd throw a baseball team out there too, and just make it the true mecca of sports. They're trying to make it. It's crazy that Vegas is that now.
It's gonna be interesting to see what NBA team ends up going in there after all, after baseball moves there, the only team left is NBA. Mm-hmm. Who's going to move in there? Because you can't steal from Seattle this time. So
no, it'll be an expansion. It'll be an expansion team if they do that. They go to Vegas, then because they'll do 2 NBA teams. They'll have Seattle back because Seattle's just starving for a basketball team, and you'll do Vegas. That'll be the 2 West teams. You'll have I've heard some talks about Vancouver getting a team again.
Yeah,
so that'll be interesting if that does happen. But in essence, if Vegas provides a home for the A's, and it's what they're doing with the Raiders, and as far as just proving they can hold sports teams, as much as and I know we talk about the A's being the history of what they are in Oakland, but they weren't originally in Oakland though. They moved to Oakland from, I think it was from Philadelphia, I believe is what it was. So, I mean, there's a history of moving as a franchise, kind of like what we saw with the Rams in the NFL, where the Rams moved from, at times, or the Oakland Raiders, or the Raiders themselves moved a handful of times. So, it's become a mainstay. I don't know how much change is going to happen if the A's do, or are they going to change the name, or are they going to change the colors? What's going to happen? So that would make an interesting conversation once that does happen, and probably in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I know between Tampa and Oakland, we could be seeing two different new franchises essentially in that play. So, yeah, I don't know. Time will tell. Time will tell. So, all right, let's break this down here. We're going to start here with I still believe, the team that runs the division, the Houston Astros. Last year, they finished 106-56. Last year, of course, ended up on a 7-3 last 10 game streak too. Obviously, Justin Verlander, Cy Young. They won this thing called the World Series against Philadelphia. Great series that was. And looking at their key departures, first base, Yuli Gurriel. I can't say his name. Tatis Diaz, Trey Mancini, gone. Justin Verlander, gone. But their big ad was really Jose Abreu. And they did lose both their catchers, but they got Corey Lee, a number 4 prospect, coming up behind what was that, Maldino now coming into play. So I don't know, what's your thoughts here on this Houston team? Are they still the favorites?
How do you lose a Cy Young
and still become a favorite?
And you're better? Yeah. I think they're better. And I know Verlander towards the end of the season, he wasn't exactly great. And in the postseason, he wasn't exactly great. Framber Valdez was the best pitcher on that pitching staff. And you have a Lance McCullers who is fully healthy, and he's back to now. I think they're better now. I think they're actually the pitching staff alone, without Verlander, they're better. So, I mean, and that's a big loss, but he's an older guy. He's an older pitcher. So you throw in, a younger staff that's really kind of getting things going. And you make it, you add a bat that is absolutely one of the best hitters has been one of the best hitters in the American League for the last 4 or 5 years, and Jose Abreu, who basically just plugs you plug that big bat in there, and you bat him behind Yordan Alvarez, which that's scary to think of, that you have a lefty-righty combination of Alvarez with Abreu batting behind them,
Yeah.
batting 4 or 5 right there. That's scary. That's more scary than I can think of anybody else that can have in the American League West, let alone the American League. Just how they can plug those two guys back to back. The younger pitching staff has proven they've shown how they develop the younger talent, and and be able to say, hey, we'll lose Carlos Correa and we plug in a new starter in Pena. We'll lose Justin Verlander, but we already have a number one in Framber Valdez, who's just been absolutely lights out, who had, I think, 26 quality starts last season, and he's proved that he could be the ace of this staff. And he's pitched in World Series after World Series in back-to-back years. Experience is there. Even how young Valdez can be, or how young Valdez is, he's have a lot of experience. So they have had some departures, some key departures, but they've gotten better because, and I think addition by subtraction with Verlander gone, it just allows the younger pitching staff to really take control in the development process, really be keyed on, and you're going to just see that group continue to excel as they've been over the last, almost half decade now.
Yeah, because you still got Bregman there, you still got Tuve, right? I mean,
Yep.
Two top guys there on top of Abreu and Alvarez. And then, like you said, the pitching, though, your first four are still lights out. Your first four is still a top rotation in baseball with this. Lance McCullers Jr. is still there. It's not like he went away. Like you lost your Cy Young guy, but we don't know what Verlander's going to be on a Mets team. It's going to be totally different for him.
Well, now Valdez gets to be the potential Cy Young guy.
Yep.
I mean, he's got that kind of stuff, and it's filthy when he's on. And last year, he was on a lot. Like I said, 26 quality starts, and I mean that's not something you see very often in today's game. So I think Valdez is going to really elevate his game and be the number one pitcher on that staff, and absolutely just carry the rotation with the McCullers as being a solid pitcher with that group. And like I said, he's healthy now. He wasn't healthy last year until the end of the season. So a healthy Lance McCullers, which we remember what he could do, in 2021 before he got hurt and what he looked like. So that's a scary thing that this team has lost a Cy Young winner and has still gotten better in the process.
Yeah, and you still got Ryan Presley here to close stuff out for this team. Really effective last year with a 2.98 ERA. I mean, what can you say here? Like your pitching's still solid. Your hitting's now solid. I still think it's very effective. I think it's going to be behind the plate might be your biggest weakness with Maldonado there, but I still feel like they don't really have to go for a reach and go get yourself a starting, full catcher. I think Corey Lee could easily prosper back in, just like we saw a lot of the young guys last year, Bobby Witt Jr., Rodriguez from Seattle, like a lot of these young guys be able to prosper. I think you can see that with Corey Lee this year.
Yeah, and I think as things kind of go, they're probably going to move Lee to be the starting catcher, let's say by the summer. If he's kind of getting it figured out and knows how to handle the staff and learn a little bit on the go in the beginning part of the year, they're going to want him to be the number one guy behind the plate, just like they did with Pena at shortstop, where he kind of got things going. He kind of got things figured out and learned a little bit on the fly and be able to excel in the position he did at the end of the season. You let Lee learn and be a backup behind Maldonado, and then by June, July, you kind of turn the keys over to him and say, "Hey, now run the pitching staff." I think that's something that probably you're going to expect them to do, and if it works out, that team just continues to get even better and younger. And that's the scary part: is if you're getting better, usually you're getting older in the process. They're getting younger and better, and that's scary.
It is scary. That's big time scary. All right, what's your win prediction for this Astros team this year?
I think they'll clip 100. I think they'll clip over 100 wins. I'll go. I don't know if they're going to have a season like we've seen this past season where, a high 100 mark was kind of what was going on. I think they'll be around a 103 to 104. Just because the division's gotten a little bit better, but they're still light head above, the other teams that are in that division. I think that they'll just continue to destroy the Oakland A's. I think they're going to own the Angels. I think they'll struggle at times with the Rangers here and there. And the Mariners are going to be the tough team to give them competition, but there's no team that's close to that group yet. And I think they'll get probably towards 104 wins.
Gotcha. And this was a team that finished with a differential of 219. 219. All right, we'll talk about the second best team here from last year. 67 differential in that difference right there.
Yep.
Seattle 90 and 72 last year. Finished off with the 7-3 last 10 there. This is a team as well. They actually lost a lot of key pieces in this one. That might hurt them. Second base, Adam Frazier, Jesse Winkler, Mitch Haniger?
Yep.
Carlos Santana, first base, relief pitcher Eric Swanson, starting pitcher Matthew Boyd. They added outfielder Tescar Hernandez, Colton Wan, second base, and AJ Pollock for the outfield as well. Again, there's a lot of effective pieces in that, especially the pitching side of things, as I think where Seattle got really hurt in this offseason so far. And it's going to be up to, I think, a lot of the young guys in the end to really come up and prosper. At offensive side, I think they're still fine. I think Colt Wan's a nice replacement there. AJ Pollock can develop there. I'm not really overly concerned on the offensive side. I really think outside of Luis Castillo and Robbie Ray, that your pitching, especially in the relief pitching too, really took a hit.
Yep. Yeah, I think as far as what they were able to do, what they focused on was more consistency. You replace Mitch Haniger with an AJ Pollock, who Pollock's not the hitter he was when he was with the Diamondbacks years ago. He kind of showed that even with the Dodgers, he was not really that all-star level player that he used to be in that time frame. But he is a consistent ball player still. He can still hit. So you give him a chance to really get some hits and kind of carry the offense on the bottom part of the lineup. And you can turn that roster over a little bit, turn the lineup card over, and bring those guys to the top. And I think that's what they're looking to see. He's not going to be Mitch Haniger who's going to hit 25, 30 home runs, but he's going to have a better batting average than Haniger in the process of it. So that's what you replace. You replace him with a Pollock who's going to hit better, with a little bit less power than Haniger, but he's going to get on base a lot more. He's going to be able to drive some runs in still and be able to get the offensive going, at least from the middle part to the bottom part of the order. I like that move. I like it. Same thing with Teoscar Hernandez. You know, you get a little bit more consistency out of that. And that's something that they didn't have towards the end of the season when they went all in, getting Luis Castillo in the trade deadline, or a little bit before the trade deadline. They were trying to say, hey, we're going all in now to be ready for 2023. They had no expectations of really being a contender in 2022. The timeline for them was, we're going to speed up the process to be ready to challenge the Astros in 2023. So you get consistency with the at-bats and AJ Pollock. You get a little bit more consistency with Teoscar Hernandez. I like the Colton Wong signing, or the Colton Wong deal to get him in from Milwaukee. He is another good hitter. He's a solid glove at second base as well that can really do some work with JP Crawford up the middle. I mean, I think that's a good deal that you got him in there. Who, like I said, he's still can swing the bat with a lot of the good second basemen in the league. So you get a little bit more consistency. And that's what this Mariners offense needed a little bit. They were spotty. They were very spotty. They had some ups, and then when they had their downs, it was really down. So if you can kind of get things going a little bit more consistent with this lineup and be able to take some pressure off of Rodriguez at the top of the order and let some of these guys who can still hit and spray the ball around the field, you can get some runs across the board. And with pitching like from Luis Castillo and Robbie Ray, which you get from those guys, your starting pitchers are going to be able to eat a little bit. And like I said, it kind of takes some pressure off the bullpen. The bullpen, as you said, is a big question mark for that group. They didn't address it enough. I think that's going to hurt them in those games with the Astros, where the pitching for that team is top to bottom, starting rotation and bullpen is one of the best in baseball. You're going to struggle times, but if they can score some runs and be able to at least give that starting pitching that they have an opportunity to go deep a little bit. And I know that's a hard conversation to say in today's game, where starting pitchers go deep in ball games. But if they can, and you know Castillo is one who will, that they will have some opportunities to surprise and knock some games away from the Astros, as well as the Angels and Rangers in that division.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. And I think it's going to come down to, this might be just one of those teams where you got to score runs to stay in the ball game.
Yep.
Essentially, especially late. They were 18th last year in runs for this team, and they were 8th in earned runs average. I think that the 8th is going to drop possibly in between the 10 and 15 mark, but that 18th, 690 runs, you're going to have to bump that up at least in the 710 mark and be the top 15 team to be competitive with the Astros. Essentially, is what my thing is, because I believe once they go to the bullpen, that's where it's going to be lost, either won or lost. Essentially, once they get to the bullpen.
No, absolutely, and as you said, I agree. They're going to have to score runs, and hopefully keeping Rodriguez healthy, as he had some injuries throughout the season. He's got to be the healthy that healthy leader for that team. Which I don't know if anybody's been as excited about a center fielder in Seattle since you probably talk about Mike Cameron and Ken Griffey Jr. Roaming the outfield out there. They're loving Julio Rodriguez roaming out there, and he's proven to be the superstar that they've been needing in that outfield since those guys are out in center field. So if he can stay healthy and he can do what he did and kind of have a repeat of what he had last year as a rookie year, they're going to score runs. They're going to get opportunities to do so, and you're going to have those guys who can be consistent in the process of scoring runs, driving runs in. That's going to be the very big, the big boost that they need. But I agree. I mean, the bullpen is going to be the biggest question mark, and you're going to have these guys, and basically to break what has been the norm now for the last few seasons in Major League Baseball. The starters only go 5 or 6 innings. If they're going only 5 or 6 innings, they're in trouble. They just don't have the depth in the bullpen to really compete with that Astros team in the division. And they're going to have to absolutely just outscore them. They can't outpitch them in that aspect, or they can't outplay defense. They're going to have to really outscore those teams to be able to at least jump into the contention conversation.
Yeah, I agree. All right, what we got? Prediction time for the Seattle team.
I think they're going to probably be, or they'll be maybe a little bit better. I think they'll be around 94 wins. I think they're going to steal some wins away from the division. I think they're going to be ahead above the other teams in the division with the Rangers. They're going to, and I don't know how the Angels are going to be with that group. They fare really well with the rest of the division outside of the Astros. So they'll steal a lot of wins. They're going to beat up on the A's this year, and they're going to take some, and they'll have some wins. And again, this is a little bit of a different format that we're seeing this season with the schedule where everybody plays everybody. There's not as much division games. So you're going to face those other divisions where they have a little bit lesser schedule. So they'll steal some games in their division, especially they'll steal some with the Astros, and they'll go beat up on the lesser teams in baseball. I think they're going to be a little bit better record-wise than what they were in 2022.
All right. I don't know if I put my Houston prediction out there, but I have 97 wins for the Houston this year, just short of 100. I just think it's a little harder now in this division. Mm-hmm. I have Seattle. They finished at 90 last year.
Yep.
I got them down to 80. In this win, I got them down 10 by 10 losses, I guess, up that. So I have 80 wins for Seattle this year. So
I guess I'm a little bit more. I guess I'm more optimistic. I'm buying in. I liked what they did last year and how it's gonna carry over. And when you have a front office that did what they did in 2022, trading for Luis Castillo, basically saying we're going. That is infectious to the clubhouse to say that our front office believes in us. So now they know the message is set there. This was a move to get y'all there this year, but it's really a move to get y'all to be that next level in 2023. It was a 2023 move that they just said, we're going to go all in now, bring him in, but watch what y'all are supposed to do in 2023. That's the expectation. So I think that they're going to be on a high because of the front office absolutely believing that this is a competitive team. They're a championship contender team, and you're going to see that team really take that next step and jump. And I think there'll be a few more wins above than what they were this past season, just because of the continuity and having Luis Castillo there for a full season now too is definitely going to help that starting rotation.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see too. I'm curious too if Seattle makes a move in July, right? Starts to make a move if they're in contention. To add in that extra, maybe possibly piece, whether that's a relief pitcher or another guy that can hit, on the offensive side. So maybe a catcher, right?
I mean, we've seen teams do both.
That's true.
So I mean, maybe there's an opportunity to see that.
Yeah, that's very true on that part. So let's switch up here to actually a team I think will make a splash this year, which would be kind of weird, but I'm all for seeing something different. The Angels are next year. Los Angeles Angels, 73 and 89 last year. Obviously, they fired their coach within the first 2 months, Joe Madden. We won't get into that, but finished another team 7-3 their last 10. Finished hot towards the end of the season there. Minus 45 differential. Let me just bring this list up here. Los Angeles Angels, there was no big losses. I hate to break it to you guys. They lost people, but it was nobody impactful, right? It was nobody that was causing them to win games last year. It was more the opposite side of causing them to lose games. But the additions, this is where it gets exciting. Outfielder, Hunter Renfroe. Love that move there. Infielder, Brandon Drury, and Gio Urshela. Starting pitcher, Tyler Anderson. Relief pitcher, Carlos Estevez. And right out of room. Oh no, nothing back there. Those are the key additions. I love what they brought into play for not just hitters, but Hunter Renfroe, who we saw make an impact last year with Milwaukee at times, kind of kept them basically in the hunt the whole entire way, even on the down slot of what happened. But Hunter Renfroe in that right field spot is going to be huge to go with Mike Trout and Ohtani. I also love the Tyler Anderson to be their number 2 behind Ohtani in that starting pitcher role. I thought that was really a spectacular move, as well as Carlos Estevez, who I believe was just under 4 on the ERA, but it was something dumb. It was like 62 games or 90 games, and somewhere in that matter of what he pitched, and still had under 4 for having to deal with what he did. So, I mean, I'm overall, I think I'm kind of impressed here, and I think it's the new era is finally going to hit for this team. They're going to stay healthy, and they're actually going to perform. I don't know, man. What's your thoughts here on this Angels team?
Well, the key for them is healthy.
Yeah.
Can they be healthy?
Injuries
You know, I mean, I can't remember what the stat was. I read something to prepare for this, and I blanked on the stat all of a sudden. But Anthony Rendon, Mike Trout, and Shohei Ohtani have not played together, and it's been a very low number of games since Rendon even signed with the Angels. They haven't played a lot of games together, in the same lineup. And that's, Rendon's been a disappointment in that lineup from when they brought him over after the World Series for the Nationals, and he hasn't been what he was that year. Mike Trout he's still one of the, in my opinion, one of the top 5 best baseball players in the world, and there should not be an argument for it. But at the same time, he's getting more injury prone. He's getting older, and the injuries are starting to really mount up to that. And we know the fear of what the Angels are worried about with Shohei, with his arm and be as a pitcher and still be able to go be a bat and try to maneuver him. And sometimes in the outfield is what they've done a couple of times from after being a DH. I know the Shohei rule has kind of eliminated that opportunity from the place of outfield, but is that fear? Is his arm going to hold up in a season, another season as a pitcher, and be able to hit it as well? So if they can be healthy, on paper, they're one of the best teams. They're one of the best teams in this division, I think, as far as just talent-wise on there. But they have to be able to stay healthy. You have to have a healthy Mike Trout. He can't play 70 games and you expect you to compete for a division title. That just can't happen. You need Anthony Rendon to be healthy. He can't just play 70 games and expect to win a title. It can't be just a Shohei show. Like he needs help. He needs help when he's healthy. Mike Trout has got to stay healthy to be able to provide that help. Rendon's got to get it figured out as well. I agree. Getting Brandon Drury and Hunter Renfroe makes the team a little bit deeper on the lineup wise. I agree with that 100%. I think those are very underrated deals to be able to bring those guys in. But when your superstars that you have and you've brought them in for big contracts are not giving you the superstar numbers, or they're not playing superstar number of games like you're expecting from Trout and you're expecting from Anthony Rendon, you're behind, especially with the Astros in that division. So can they on paper compete with the Astros? Yes, absolutely 100%. I think that'd be a great matchup. At the times that they face each other, if everybody 1 through 9 is healthy, that's a great matchup. I want to be watching that on ESPN. Hopefully, on Sunday Night Baseball, they have those games a few times. I'll be tuning into that. But that's a big question mark for this team. They have not been able to do that for a few years now. Pitching wise, again, Shohei's one of the best pitchers. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball in the story, point blank. But the lineup, the rotation, again, talking about depth wise. The rotation, I don't think, is as deep as what the Astros are. So are they going to be able to contend with the Mariners? Yeah, I think they can put him with the Mariners for second place in the division, but the depth and talent wise in that rotation is just not to what the Astros are, and that's going to hurt them. I mean, again, we're talking about trade, potential trade moves that they could do. Maybe they add another pitcher into that rotation, and you can pair off with a Tyler Anderson and Shohei in there, and really get a little bit more depth in that starting rotation to compete. But as of right now, I think pitching is a weak link on this team. I don't think they're going to be able to pitch with the Astros. Can they score with the Astros? Possibly. Just because again that lineup is a really good lineup. They can possibly score with the Astros, but pitching wise, I don't see that they have the depth to compete in Houston or against the Astros at times. Just to be able to say that they're going to challenge the Astros for a division crown.
Yeah, and I think that's what this team's built though for. It's not necessarily the pitching side of things. It's being able to stay in ball games long enough with high scores, right? Being able to score the runs. And you got to remember too, this year there is no shift.
Yep.
So guys like Hunter Renfroe, Brandon Drury, and even Gio should be able to be effective on the offensive side, knowing that there's not going to be a drifter out there behind, second base or shortstop area. So we got to remember that too coming into play. Like this offense is going to look a lot different this year than it has in the past 5 to 10.
Yeah, I agree. But the same conversation happens with everybody else.
Sure.
So, I mean, you take that shift away for let's say for the Astros. What does that mean for Yordan Alvarez?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's kind of scary what he's going to do. And he already batted. I think he batted over 300 last year.
Yeah.
With a shift. So what is that going to do for his numbers? And the shift's going to absolutely inflate some numbers for a lot of teams, but a lot of teams are going to have that same benefit. So you're just adding the inflation, of numbers, offensive side to every team, including the Astros. So yeah, will it help the Angels? Absolutely, it will. But is it enough to compete with a team like the Astros, who are going to have that same opportunity with no shift?
It probably isn't on that because of the pitching aspect. I don't think you compete. I don't think any of this team so far can compete with the Astros on the pitching side. I think that's where everybody falls flat currently. We see here too the runs 25th in runs, 9th in earned runs average. Like we just talked about the Seattle Mariners that were 8th and 18th, and they were they were so far ahead in runs or in the wins there. They were 73, so 90, so 17 better. And just that matter of the runs part. If they can somehow hang around that 10, 9, 8th in the earned runs average, to somehow hang around that, and they can increase their runs by probably 7 or 8, this team is easily, we're talking about Seattle from last year for this team.
Yep. I think that's the ceiling. I think that's absolutely the ceiling. If they do make a move to not a Luis Castilla type move, but if they can add someone who's talented to add to this rotation, yeah, I could see that really take a jump, because again, that's what they're missing out right now is being able to get that other pitcher to pair with Ohtani. We're going to see what Tyler Anderson can do as a number 2 behind Ohtani with the Angels. Because I think he was with the Dodgers. I believe he's with the Dodgers last year. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. If I'm wrong, then I apologize on it. But he's going to have he's going to was that?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he was okay. I couldn't remember if he was with the Dodgers.
Yeah,
but he gets a chance now to be out of the shadow of Kershaw and Buehler and Gosalani. You went from number 4 pitcher in the Dodgers to the number 2 pitcher in the Angels. And so this is a chance for Anderson to really step his game up and be able to say, hey, I'm a top pitcher. I'm going to compete with this rotation to be one of the top guys and see what he can do. If he does, Angels are going to – that's a huge leap for the Angels. If he struggles, we're kind of having the same conversation what they were last year.
Right. So here's another question on this Angels team, right? Because there's usually a lot of drama within this Angels organization every year. It's always something. Well, Ohtani just came out and said he's going to be testing free agency. Do you see this Angels team, if they're down, let's just say they're back 10 games going towards trade deadline, do you see them trying to make a move, knowing the fact that they're not going to be keeping Ohtani?
Oh,
I know. It's like, why would you do that? But at the same time, you could get quite the haul for him.
And that would be why I would say yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw what a Juan Soto trade does, for the organization to get, top level talent to the Nationals and what they were able to do out of the farm system. I mean, can you imagine what a Shohei Ohtani trade would provide to the Angels? Again, it obviously depends on the team itself, but I mean, if I'm falling out of contention, I just don't think it's going to be. The Angels will have to sell. They'll have to sell off, and it's not just going to be Ohtani. You're going to look at probably finding a way to trade. Brandon Drury will be one of the lists that did trade. You're probably trading Hunter Renfroe as well. You're probably trading. You're going to probably find a way to get Rendon off the books. If that's a possibility, you're going to have to. So yeah, I mean, if they're falling that far off, especially with the fan base is just completely turning on the ownership too. With the situation that with the owners they're having on, I could see that. I could see a deal that would have to you would trade Ohtani. Just know because again, if you're confident in signing him, even if he tests free agency, if you're confident that you can get him, then no, you're going to keep him. You're going to make sure you find every chance you can to secure him and keep him in LA. But if you know he's walking and you're just like, hey, we just don't have the capital to really offer him a $400 million contract, which is probably what he's going to be getting. Yeah, trade and you completely restart the franchise and you go from there.
I agree. I fully agree on that part. I think if you're down that big, halfway through the season, just sell. Get yourself some capital. All right, prediction time. What's your wins?
I think they're going to be better than what they were in 2022 because you said they had 73 wins they had.
Yep.
They'll be in the 80s. I think they're going to have a jump up in wins. They'll be. I'd give them about 82. I think they'll close to a 10-win increase just because the lineup is better. I'll give them that what they can do again. If Trout stays healthy, if Rendon can stay healthy and get himself close to what he was a few years ago, that's going to make this team really dangerous offensively. They can score runs and they're going to be able to outscore teams in the process. So I'd give them about a 9-10 win increase. I'll give them to 80. I'll give them 83 wins. I'll give them a 10-win increase. I think they'll get to 83, and they're not going to be close to the Mariners just yet. I think that the ceiling is what the Mariners were at 90 wins last year. I just don't think they're going to really get to that point because we don't know how good the pitching staff's going to really be.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, real quick correction. Tiny didn't announce it. It was hinted that he's aiming towards free agency. Nothing officially announced, just so we know.
Okay.
But the Angels, if I'm going to base off that they're healthy for 90% of the season. Okay. This is what I'm going to base it off of. They're going to be actually healthy 90% of the season. I'm going 85 wins for this Angels team. I see no reason why they can't touch 85 this year. If they stay healthy, of course. 85. They're passing the Mariners, and they're going to be the Mariners from last year, sneaking into a wild card.
I mean, buying into the offense.
All on health. So
I agree. The ceiling is there, but are they going to be good enough to really do it and get to that point? And again, it obviously depends how close they are. And again, do they make a move like the Mariners did in 2022 to really say, hey, we're gonna do what we can to get competitive? If they do that, there's a chance I could see that. But it's just a matter of how close are they going to be to that point, because the Mariners were close before they made the Castillo trade. They were not far off as far as the wild card conversation. They weren't close to the Astros, but they were close in the wild card conversation to say we'll make that move now. If the Angels are close in the wild card conversation, and I think they'll make that move to say we're gonna jump. Let's go and see what we can do. We'll jump in and see if we can get ourselves somebody that can really nudge us another step into that conversation.
I want to say too that before that trade happened, I believe they were down two spots to the wild card, but it wasn't like 10 games. It was like within 3 or 4 games, and then they pushed themselves that far up with that trade. It was such an effective trade. So, but yeah, I mean, I really do feel like the Angels has a chance to do something this year. Obviously, I don't think they beat Houston, but I think they have something to do with what Seattle did last year in the play. All right. Texas Rangers. Interesting team here, right?
Very interesting, yeah.
I can get back to my page here. Texas Rangers last year finished 68-94. They had a minus 36 differential, and they were 3-7 their last 10. Not very impressive there. Their losses was relief pitcher Matt Moore, relief pitcher Jesus Tinoco, and their ads were, of course, Jacob deGrom, that Mets pitcher from a while ago, you know. And then I consider this still a pickup, possibly for the bullpen side, but they added Danny Duffy, former Royal, starting pitcher, relief pitcher, guy who was I think he was out injured all last year, but because he didn't pitch at all, he didn't play at all last year. So a healthy arm, healthy lefty coming into play for relief pitch going in this year. This Texas team, quite interesting, really. They had a lot of signings essentially for this team, but I think DeGrom is the biggest one. As big as it is, I don't think it's enough. I think DeGrom just went to the Mets 2.0, as what I'm going to call it, because it's you're going to probably see high expectations. You're probably going to see a team start great, and I think it's going to fall apart towards the end of the season. For this team here, Corey Seager at shortstop is your biggest guy there. Outside of that, I don't really like any of it. Honestly, enough to put them over like a team like Seattle or Angels, obviously not Astros. And even the pitching side here, I like DeGrom. I think he's going to be just effective as he always is. I can see Andrew Heaney coming in to become that actually number 2 in the end. But relief wise, nothing too impressive there. And the closer, saw what he did last year. So what's your thoughts here on this Rangers team?
Well, it's interesting because, we've been, and I live in the Fort Worth area. I live outside of Arlington, about 25 minutes away. They have been trying to get pitching for God knows how long, and they've been trying it so hard to at least get a top guy in the rotation. And they were finally able to get Jacob deGrom. I actually don't think Jacob deGrom is as big of a signing as that was. I think getting Nathan Eovaldi was another good move to be able to get in. He's going to be, a 2-3 guy with Andrew Heaney as well. And you have a Jake Odorizzi who he struggled at times last year for the Braves and jumping into a wild card situation, or not a playoff contending team, and what the Braves were. I think that was very difficult for him. Coming to a program, to an organization like the Rangers, who they're hoping to take a step up, but I don't think the expectations are going to be the same. So I think Odorizzi can actually be a solid number 4, maybe 5 pitcher in the rotation, and essentially what he is in his career now. So pitching depth is not as bad as what the Rangers have been dealing with over the last few seasons, where you have solid major league arms outside of Jacob deGrom, who's an elite arm, Nathan Eovaldi, who's a really good arm, and they said Haney's a really good arm in that rotation as well. So you have some pitching depth to add into, and plus with the young guys that are still there, that they pitch with in 2022. The issue, and I laugh when you said that this is basically the Mets 2.0. That's very optimistic, because
that is optimistic of that.
Seager is good. Seager's good. He's not Francisco Lindor. There's no Pete Alonso on that lineup. There's no Jeff McNeil in that lineup. I know Adolis Garcia is, outside of Corey Seager and Marcus Semien, who've had a good season. Adolis Garcia is probably the best, power hitter they have, and he's still developing and figuring things out, and he's getting better and better each year. But that's not enough, especially what deGrom needs. deGrom has been, and why he left when he pitched, he got 0 run support. He did not get a lot of help. He had pitched a lot of 2-0, 2-1 ball games, 3-1, 3-2 ball games. That's not going to change with this lineup. That is not going to help. He's going to have to absolutely be perfect almost every time, because this lineup's not going to score a lot of runs. They're not going to really help. I just don't see where that offense is going to come from outside of Seager, Garcia, and Semien. I know, Nathan Lowe has had some opportunities, and he's played decent last year, just wasn't fantastic. I don't see it. I don't see how this lineup, comparing to the others that we've mentioned, and the Angels and Mariners and Astros, how competitive is this lineup going to be with the pitching staff that they have? And it's a better pitching staff than what the Rangers had in years. But this lineup is not there. And I don't see where this is better for deGrom to go and compete and push the Rangers into the conversation of the division leaders, just because he's not going to get a lot of run support with this group. Seager's had ups and downs, and Simeon's had some ups and downs, but they are still really good players. But there's not enough in this lineup to really give me confidence that they're going to go and score a lot of runs.
I think the 12th in runs last year, the 707 was, I think if they come close to that and they can get this earned run average, like anything with the pitching to be better, I think they could definitely make a case for themselves. But I don't see them, like you said, I don't see them producing the same amount of runs they did last year with this roster.
Well, here's the other side. How healthy is DeGrom going to stay throughout the year? I mean, we've seen that last couple of years. So I think pitching inside in Texas will help. I don't have that confidence that is he going to pitch 30 games. We haven't seen that from DeGrom that as in recent years. When he's healthy, he's the best. But can he be the best for 30 plus games to start? And that's something we haven't really seen lately. And if that's the case, if DeGrom goes down, again, Uvalde's a good pitcher, but he's not a number one. Haney's not a number one. John Gray, go down the list. You got solid arms, but you're not going to be what you need if DeGrom goes down. So it's more of a boom or bust. If I think that's how it's kind of viewed for the Rangers, what they're looked at. If they boom, if DeGrom is healthy and if Eovaldi is really good, they're going to boom. They're going to really compete with the Angels and Mariners at that point. But the bust side of it, I think, is a greater chance than seeing that boom.
I'm curious to see too how they treat DeGrom early in the season. Like when I say early in the season, I mean through May. Like when we get to June, do they ramp him up? Like, are we going to see what we did last year with the Mets and then he gets hurt? I'm gonna be kind of curious to see how they treat him coming off, a couple injury riddled seasons.
Yeah, like I said, I think being in the air conditioning in Globe Life is going to help. So you take even you go on the road, it's still hot. It's still hot when you play on the road in other stadiums. But knowing that half your games are going to be in the AC, that'll definitely help them. It'll help them keep them fresh. But we have to see, can DeGrom be healthy for 30 plus starts, and if the Rangers get that from him, they're going to be in a good spot. I just don't know if the offense is going to be enough to give him what he needs to have the run support and just go pitch.
Fair enough there. I'm okay with it. All right, prediction time.
What was their remind me again what their record was last year? It was hang on, it's not loading now. Why would it load when I want it to load? Win standings. There it goes. It was 68-94. I think there'll be a small bump. I think we'll see DeGrom pitch a good amount of games this year. I think the pitching is going to help. And like I said, the offense is not bad. It's just not enough to compete with the top three teams. What we talked about how we gushed over what those other teams are offensively. I see them getting to 70. I'll give them 72 wins. I think there'll be a small bump to get over 70. They'll get a 72 wins, but I just don't see them having truly enough to push themselves in the conversation and getting close into the 80 mark and even breaking 500. I just don't see that there yet.
Yeah, I do think with DeGrom, it improves their situation in a way, but I don't think it improves it that much just from the offensive standpoint in relief pitching. I'm going to give them 2 bumps, so I'm going to give them 70 wins for this Rangers team this year.
That's fair. DeGrom does help. The pitching is going to help, but like I said, you only have 3 solid bats in Garcia, Simeon, and Seager, and you're still loaded with question marks throughout the lineup and the outfield and consistency in the infield outside of the middle infielders. So it's definitely going to be a kind of a hit or miss situation if you're the Rangers.
Yep, and we won't know too. We won't know what Danny Duffy looks like either until he actually gets out there and throws. So that'll be interesting. I'm curious because that could really improve that relief pitch situation. So we'll have to wait and see there. All right, our final team of the night, the Oakland Athletics, powerhouse. 60 wins, 102 losses, minus 202 differential, only a little bit. 4-6 their last 10. Two losses. Sean Murphy to that one team that you like, catcher Stephen Vogt, he decided to retire on his own. Good for him. Relief pitcher Joel Payamps, I think it's how you say it. But he was, it's hard. Like he still had it was a 3.98 or 4. It was right around that 4 average. But when you have such an offense, it's impressive that you're even near 4 with that kind of backup you have on the offensive side. So I'm giving him a key loss in that one. And then as far as ads, Cole Irwin, too, starting pitcher for the A's, left as well. Ads, first base, Jesus Aguilar, Jace Peterson at third base, and utility guy Aldemis Diaz for the addition. So no big names into play here for this Oakland team. Honestly, it's a team still trying to figure out if they're going to leave Oakland, if they're not going to leave Oakland. They don't want to spend money. I don't know what it is with this team. It's disgusting in a way. I do think Jesus and Jace on the corners there will be an improvement of what they had last year. I'm a little concerned on the catching situation, knowing they lost 2 guys. Manny Pina's there, but he's only there as a backup. Pitching, Kyle Muller's there at third. Looks like third rotation right now. Relief pitching, nothing major. And they did sign Trevor May, but he's kind of washed now. So I don't know, man. It's a rough roster looking. What do you think on the A's team?
Hearing everything going on with this group, the entire SEC baseball program, the entire SEC is going to have more fans than the Oakland A's will this year. That's scary to think of, just how bad. And again, it's on purpose. They're doing it on purpose because they want the attendance to stay down, so they can go and pack up and leave for Vegas. We know that. It's not a secret. They've even said it at times that they're ready to move out. They're looking at land. They're looking at areas in Vegas. It's inevitable going to happen. They're doing everything they can to at least just make it happen, so that when they move, they'll spend the money necessary, and they're going to give the middle finger to Oakland in the process of doing it. It sucks because Oakland's been a great fan base for Major League Baseball. A top level fan base when things are going right and things are going well, and even when things don't go well financially for them, they still find ways to win, and the fans still show up into that terrible ballpark that they play in. But it's just sad. It's sad to see that this is what the franchise is really trying to do. And it's nothing against the players that they have on the roster. It's nothing against the players that they brought in and everything. They're just there to do a job and help move this franchise to the next city, and then they'll probably be let go and they'll build from there. So it's unfortunate. It's the unfortunate side of the business. They won, you said 60 games. How do you win 60 games and the next year you actually get worse? You're supposed to move the needle to the opposite direction, and they're not even close to doing that. Jesus Aguilar has potential to at least be a big bat in that lineup, but he struggled in Miami and he got DFA'd in Miami. So, it's a matter of how much in shape is he showing up to camp this year, to spring training, and really saying, hey, this is his opportunity to research his career. Because if he shows up and puts up numbers, he'll be a trade piece. He'll be a big bat in a contending team from there. If he shows up and puts up numbers, he's going to be a piece that they can move. You have some of these young guys that are kind of interesting to see what's going to happen. You say Kyle Muller. I was actually very upset that the Braves traded Muller, because he's got a big potential to be one of those top level arms for a rotation if given the opportunity. It just never worked out in Atlanta because there's too many young guys in Atlanta to compete with. He's now in the big leagues full time now with the Oakland A's. He's going to get an opportunity to be a major league pitcher full time. So I'm excited to see what Muller can do in that rotation, be able to get a chance to supplant himself as an MLB pitcher. But that lineup's just so dreadful. It's the roster itself is dreadful, and I just there's no way to really sit there and look at that team and say, yeah, they're going to compete. No, they're not, and it's just it's done on purpose. The ownership is doing this on purpose, and it's just unfortunate. And it sucks, and I hate it. And this is what everybody's kind of up in arms about as far as teams doing stuff like this to completely tank. But the other side of it is they're tanking not to just get to rebuild; they're tanking to move, and that's wrong in itself, and it's as well.
Agreed. It's wrong, and it's hard to be second to last in runs in the MLB. The only team that was worse than Oakland, and there was a team worse than Oakland. Who was it? Who do you think who do you think it is, Jonathan? In runs.
Part of me wants to say Pittsburgh just because they're the same kind of team. They sell off and they try to rebuild. If not Pittsburgh, yeah, I kind of is there a reason that there's a tone in your voice? Is it a team in Missouri that
it's not team in Missouri?
Okay, okay. I have to go with Pittsburgh then. I think Pittsburgh was the other team.
Okay, so Pittsburgh was fourth worst at 591. Detroit Tigers. So Oakland had 568. Okay, that was second worst. Detroit had 557. That's 11 worst. Are you kidding me?
I didn't even think about the Tigers. I know that's another down team that's just been getting worse and worse every year, but I didn't think about them.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk that one. Oh my Lord. It's rough, man. Look, it's not a team I expect to do much this year at all. Obviously there's a lot of pieces that they're probably going to sell off more of their farm team in the end, possibly. So it's almost like a developmental team at this point.
It's not even. It's a transitional team. It's a transitional team. Like I mean, because we know what's going to happen when they get the agreement from Major League Baseball to move the franchise. This is where it's going to really anger so many people when they get the agreement to move the franchise, and when they do absolutely pack up and move to Vegas. Oh, we found money. We're going to spend money now.
Oh, look at that. We can sign these guys now.
We know that's going to happen. We've seen it before. We saw what the Montreal Expos when they moved to DC after a few years, they started spending some more money. Oh, wait a minute, we found it. There's an extra check in our checkbook that we can write on and spend money on. Oh, okay. I mean, we've seen this. We know it's going to happen, and the only people who are suffering, it's not the players who are playing on the A's who are going to have a terrible season. And they're gonna have to explain to scouts and general managers the offseason for 2024 why was your number so bad? Why should we offer you a new contract or a contract to play? They're gonna have to explain to all that side because the A's were just that bad of a team. They're that bad of a franchise that when they move, they're gonna gut it and they're gonna spend money and they're gonna bring some new players and they're gonna continue to try to bring the younger guys up, but they're gonna find ways to spend money. And Major League Baseball can't do anything about it because they're not breaking rules. It's the unfortunate side of that the CBA didn't really cover this side of it as much as they wanted to try to cover it. The players know this was going to happen. You just can't fight it right now. And this is part of the CBA, and we've talked about it before. This is the strongest the owners have been in CBA negotiations, and they're in a long time. And this is kind of what we're getting out of it, where the owners basically say, I'm not writing any money. I'm not writing a check. I mean, dear Lord, I think I almost want to say that the LSU baseball team probably makes more money than what the Oakland A's are spending money.
Right.
I mean, it's ridiculous what they're doing. And to a very proud organization, the A's organization is from Philadelphia throughout their history for almost 100 years. And this is what they're going to leave the legacy of the Oakland A's as. It's shame. It's a shame.
It is a shame on this part. What's your prediction for this team?
Ugh. God, I don't even. They're going to probably lose 50. They'll probably win 52 games. I just think they're going to be worse. I don't. They won't break. They won't break 60. I don't see it. I don't see they'll break 60. They may not break 55. I'll give them 52 wins.
I'm going to go 55 wins. I'll give them a little bit more than yours. They ain't touching 60 with that roster, honestly. I mean, and it's just more of this roster you see in front of you, too. Probably 3 or 4 guys will be traded by then. So, by the trade.
So, I'm saying if Aguilar has a really good, which again, no shift, so Aguilar should be able to get some extra hits in. He's got the power. If he bops out 15, 16, 17 home runs in that stadium, he's going to get traded. He'll get traded. And, he'll be gone. He'll be on a contender. And that's why I feel like he's going to be on a prove it. I got to go prove myself and go be on a contending team and be on a playoff team, while the A's just will say, all right, thank you for your time here. Well, we hope you appreciated your stay in Oakland, and here's your plane ticket.
Yep. That's how it is, man. It's just amazing to me. It's just amazing to me. That's all it is. All right, guys, that was our AL West preview breakdown here. Before we wrap up here, Jonathan, anything cool with the organization going to play? Any tournaments lined up coming in March, or
we're getting there? We have one more scrimmage throughout the organization. We have a baseball scrimmage on Saturday, so the baseball team's getting up and running. Our 10U and 12U and our 214U teams, they're all scrimmaging on Sunday. And then we are full speed. Season starts up next weekend. So we'll have 3 teams up and running next week. There are season opening tournaments, and then it's going full on for there. So I'm excited. We've got a lot. These girls on the softball side have grown more and more over this month, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do this year. They're going to be very competitive. We have a lot of teams that are competitive right now, and it's just a matter of how much competitive they're going to be and how quickly they get themselves to the next level. I think we'll have a few teams actually get bumped up this year to another level, competition wise. I'm excited. I've been giddy from all month, and we've been kind of getting some bad weather here and there in DFW, and kind of having to find a way to get some work. But these girls that I have, the boys on the baseball side, they're putting that extra work in. They're getting that extra development in on their own along with us. I'm proud. I love what I'm seeing from all these kids and where they're going. And then we have the high school ages in the summer going there, and we've had a lot of success with our high school girls and what they're doing their season right now. We've had some girls hit some home runs left and right. We have actually one girl hit 3 in 3 straight games in high school. We had a couple who've hit 2 in 4 games. So, I mean, we're putting up some numbers right now, and I'm excited about it. I'm happy for it.
That's what I like to hear, man. This is what it's all about. I love hearing that stuff. So,
absolutely, I'm beaming. I'm beaming with pride, and so proud of all these kids. Like I haven't been able to stop smiling. But every time I get something, a text or a phone call from them, I just have nothing but joy coming from me from what these girls and what these boys are doing out here.
As you should. You should be super proud of these kids that you got. Soon to be adults. They're just out here successful. It seems like all the time. So that's what I love hearing. I love hearing this kind of story. I'm all about sports here in the spring. So, all right, man.
I appreciate it. Absolutely.
If you guys want any more, check out Alpha Performance at baseball and softball over on Facebook. There you can see what he's got going on there. It's a great program. Something I follow. I love seeing the pictures at the end of the girls holding the ball after they hit a bomb, walking the bases. So I like seeing. So awesome, Jonathan. Well, man, hey, we'll catch up next Monday. We'll break down another division next Monday. And then after that, March 6th, it's World Baseball Classic talk.
Mm-hmm.
So be ready. It's right around the corner here.
Always ready for baseball season. Like I said, this is my favorite time of the year. Springtime is here. We got warm weather. Put some hot dogs on the grill. Let's go play some ball.
Yeah, one more cold front, I think, coming into you.
Don't ruin it. Don't ruin don't ruin it for me now. Come on. And by the way, it's Lundi Gras right now too. Mardi Gras tomorrow. My New Orleans culture is so happy. This is that's going on right now. So we got Lundi Gras today. It's Fat Monday. We got Fat Tuesday tomorrow. And so this is just getting better and better. And then you want to say, "Oh, you got a cold front coming."
You got a cold
Come
front.
on.
Don't worry, it's gonna hit me worse. So don't you worry.
I know it could be.
All right, man. We'll let you go. I appreciate you joining again. So
appreciate it, Tanner, as always.
Thanks, Jonathan. All right, guys. That was Jonathan Grishman here as we wrap up the show today. Make sure you guys check out Bakken's show yesterday at the Bakken show. He had Tommy Bowden on. former coach there. Obviously, his dad is a legend as well. It was a really great interview by Nick talking with Tommy there, Coach Bowden. Pretty phenomenal. Go check that on the Bakken Show and Let's Talk Sports. Guys, you can catch myself here coming up here Wednesday. We'll be talking franchise tags with the Buffoons. We'll also be talking a little bit of scouting combine, and then Thursday I plan on doing a breakdown of this NFL scouting combine. We're going to talk positional breakdowns. We're going to talk about certain teams, what their needs is, and what to watch for this upcoming weekend on the NFL scouting combine. So if you haven't already, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when I'm on. And you guys make sure you have a great week. Have a fabulous week. Bakken should be back next Monday. Jim should be back next Monday. Talk the NHL trade deadline. And then we'll break down MLB again next Monday with Jonathan here. So everybody have a fabulous week. Hope you have a great week. And we'll chat at you later. See you guys.